In this lesson, we're going to take a look at line graphs. This here is a line graph. And what we have done is that we know that hot dog buns are sold in packages of 8, and this is our example of a line graph. So the line graph does have a title. It's talking about hot dog buns. And for a line graph, we have two axes. We have an x-axis, and we have a y-axis. The x-axis, as you see here, shows you the number of packages. And the y-axis, as you see here, it should have a label on it. It should tell us what? Right, the number of hot dog buns. And then so I'll go ahead and write that in there. Now, to find values, so for instance, if we were to look at this graph here in this line graph, if we were to look and the question was, how many hot dog buns are in 3 packages? We know that this describes packages, the x-axis describes packages, so we find 3 here, and we go up to the line, and we go over to the left to go ahead and find that value. And that value is 24. Now, if we were asked another type of question, where if we were saying, we're throwing a party, and we need to go ahead and serve 60 hot dogs. How many packages of hot dog buns will we need? Here's 60 here. Come back across. Come back down. Well, we'll need more than 7 packages. And then if we go to the store, they're not going to allow us to buy 7 and like 3/4 packages. So we'll have to buy 8 packages of hot dog buns. And 8 packages of hot dog buns, this makes sense as 8 times 8 is 64, which is very close to that 60 number that I required. Let's take a look at a few examples of questions that might be asked from this graph. Here's a question. It says, how many buns are in 5 packages? How many buns are in 5 packages? So go ahead and figure out as to how many buns are in 5 packages. Think. I do always like to express my answer with a sentence when I'm working with word problems. And then so you said there are how many buns in 5 packages? Right, 40. So again, we looked at the x-axis, where there's the 5 here, come up to the line, come back across, and there are 40 buns in 5 packages. Here's another problem. It says if you have 24 buns, how many packages do you have? Think. And the answer to that is that you would have 3 packages of hot dog buns. Right, you have 3 packages. Let's look at another line graph. Here I have a line graph. It says that Lisa made a line graph showing how many miles she ran during a week. And then so, on our x-axis, you see we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as those different days that she ran. So for instance, on Saturday, it looks like she ran 11 miles. On Thursday, she ran 3 miles, halfway in between 2 and 4. Now on our y-axis, should have had a label there, and that label there should have been miles. We do have a big label here for each of these: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We could have written days of the week here as well, to be more precise and to be clearer for our line graph. So we can use this line graph to look at these different different types of questions. You'll notice one other thing for this line graph, the y-axis. What we call this 2, 4, 6, 8, where it is that we've gone 1 step up each time. We call this the interval. And then so we've chosen an interval of 2 for this graph here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. On our previous chart, if you remember, we actually counted by 10 for our intervals. And the reason that we do that is that if we went by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 for a graph paper, in some instances we would need a very, very large sheet of graph paper to go ahead and show that line graph. Here's a question. It says, on which day did Lisa run the fewest miles? So it's nice that we have this line graph because this is a picture representation of data. And then so we see right here that she ran the fewest miles. It looks like it's right here. And if we come down here to the days of the week, that would be on Thursday. Read that sentence with me. Lisa ran the fewest miles on Thursday. And that answers the question that's posed by my word problem there about this line graph. Here's another problem. On which days did Lisa run 11 miles? Would you have answered Wednesday and Saturday? I would have looked over here for 11, come back on across, and I see it occurred on 2 days. They did clue us in by putting an S right there. What's a complete sentence that you could have said to answer this question? I did abbreviate it, but I wrote Lisa ran 11 miles on Wednesday and Saturday. Here's one final review. So it says, how many fewer miles did Lisa run on Sunday than on Saturday? You know what? It sounds like I'm comparing. So I'm going to have a subtraction problem for this answer here. And so I have Sunday and Saturday. So I will look at those values inside of my line graph. So if I look for the days of the week for Sunday, I come up to the line graph, I see 6 there for Sunday. And then so for Sunday, I'm going to go ahead and write 6 in there. There's a 6 for Sunday. Now for Saturday, I see that she ran more miles on Saturday, it looks like. She ran 11. And then so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go 11 minus 6, which equals 5, and we're sure to label it 5 miles. We could also write that out back into a number in a sentence to answer our question. She ran 5 fewer miles. And then you would also probably say on Sunday than on Saturday. Now looking at our line graph, this here I'm pointing at the title. Maybe you said miles run. This was days of the week. This is the what axis? X-axis. This here is the what axis? Y-axis. So x-axis goes from left to right, or horizontally, and y-axis goes vertically. Now what do we call this? The 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It was the what of the graph? It started with an I. It was the interval. I think the most common mistake when you are working with line graphs and you are setting up line graphs is to forget to label the different parts of it. And then so in this case, whoever made this, it was me, by the way. Well, the computer made it. But I didn't notice that it didn't have all of our labels there. And that label right there would be miles. That's all you need to know about line graphs for now. Bye-bye.